Ryan, what the heck you got going on here?
Mark, I am building my argument for the most versatile cartridge in the world.
Huh, let me help. Welcome to Cartridge Talks. Today, Ryan and I will define once and for all, unequivocally, with no possible refute, the most versatile cartridge ever.
308 Winchester.
Ryan, how are we going to tackle this monumental task?
We have arranged a smattering of scenarios to test all of these rifles behind us, which happen to be chambered in 308 Winchester. The versatility of this cartridge, from F-class, PRS competition, multi-gun, to big game hunting.
We're gonna do some testing, we're gonna do some talking, and we're gonna do some proving.
Let's load these guns up and head to the range.
We'll just load them, like to take them.
Yeah.
We're on the range with a handful of deer hunter classics, Ryan. We've got a Remington 760 pump. You've got a newer Browning BAR auto, and we got a Browning BLR behind us.
Classic whitetail fodder.
All in a very classic cartridge.
The 308 Winchester. Now, we had selected these three rifles in particular for this little test that we're going to be doing. A lateral mover target, a whitetail deer. If you've hunted whitetail around the upper Midwest and rifle country, this might look familiar. The idea here is precedence on speed and accuracy, as we do have a moving target. Up first on the running deer test is the Browning BAR Mark III, of course, chambered in 308.
My Lord, Ryan. That is some handy shooting.
BAR has a lot of controllability. For many years, I dismissed the rifle system for no good reason, but this is useful.
That one right there.
That was the first shot. That was the third shot.
That is some handy shooting. Nice work.
Thank you, sir.
Next up, the Remington 760 Game Master. That's a true classic right there. And of course, 308.
Mark, that looked really smooth.
Let's go have a look. Oh, thank you, sir. Now, what happened here, Ryan? We got one in the old pump station. One. Oh, yeah, there's two impacts. Liver in the heart. I'll take that.
We'll call it back long. A little bit slower than the semi-auto.
A little bit slower, but 2 shots for me. I think that's probably all I would have gotten with the semi anyway.
It was good. Dead deer. You know, Mark, we'd be remiss if we didn't have a lever action option.
Pure Americana.
It's a good thing that Browning's BLR is chambered in none other than 308 Winchester.
What luck.
Serendipitous.
Oh dear, Ryan.
Ooh, Mark.
That's some good shooting.
That was a little high and back on that one. That was the last shot.
I think that was your third, though.
Yeah,
that was about your only option at that point.
If you couldn't tell, that one was a little rushed.
That's exactly where it should have been.
I'm pleased with 1 and 2.
All 3 in the lungs, I guess.
Now, that rifle does have significantly more recoil than the BAR. And of course, you've got to manipulate it too, so you lose a little speed, but it's still certainly a viable big game gun, certainly a viable big game cartridge.
You certainly shot the heck out of it. I'd say you got him. Good shooting.
Cool.
Running deer to run and gun. Ryan, what do we have going on here?
Well, we've set up a little USPSA multi-gun tactical carbine course to further highlight the versatility of the 308 Winchester cartridge using this AR-10.
Now, this would be considered heavy metal, right?
Yeah.
You love heavy metal.
I do love heavy metal.
Let's go.
Yeah.
Are you ready? Stand by.
All right, we got Alpha Charlie and 2 Alpha in the last one. And 985 gives us a hit factor of 4.67.
Or your second position.
Very good run.
That was pretty good. Nice work.
Thanks, man. It was fun.
How was it shooting it?
You know, it's not undue. It's a heavier gun. It's set up a little bit more precision than it is multi-gun or action shooting, but it's certainly manageable. You could always change the stock. It is an AR platform, so they're fairly universal.
Yeah, I mean, you can modularize this thing, if that's a word, about any way you want. Like you said, it's heavier, but man, it looked like it recoil impulse, very flat.
Not terrible.
We've done up close and personal. What's next on the docket?
A little bit of long range. Let's air things out a little bit.
Let's go. Let's have some fun.
I'm in.
I don't know about you, Ryan, but my mom was always telling me to get outside and play, and that's exactly what we're doing today. We're standing here in a lovely field of dandelions, about to do what? Ryan, chocolate says I love you. Flowers say I'm sorry. What are you sorry for?
I'm sorry to tell you, Mark, that the 308 Winchester is in fact the most versatile cartridge on the planet. You've seen us do tactical shooting with it, fast shooting with guns like the 760 and the BLR and the BAR. We're putting it in its proper form, a bolt rifle, from 200 to 1,000 yards.
Let's do some shooting.
All right, so we've got a little field scenario here for you. I've got targets set up at 300, 400, 500 yards. Got one of my favorite hunting rifles, my pack, and my shooting sticks. And we're gonna see what a bolt action 308 Winchester can do.
Spotter up.
One hot.
Impact, center plate. Impact. Impact. It's pretty darn good shooting off sticks in the pack, Ryan.
Works pretty good.
That was very nice. Okay, a little role reversal here. Traded places with my good friend Ryan. I've been enamored with his little shorty 308 for quite some time. This is my first time getting to shoot it. Same target array, 300, 400, 500 yards. Gonna give it a rip, see how I do.
Good hit, Mark.
Transitioning to 4.
Good hit.
Transitioning to 5. Shooter ready.
Spotter up. Ding. Good hit, Mark.
Hit him. That second shot, I didn't have my hands on the sticks there. They dropped on me a little bit. Need to remember to do that.
Good hit, so.
We got him.
You know, Mark, the 308 Winchester works really good in a hunting rifle application, as demonstrated. Works really good when you needed a fast follow-up, like with the 760 or the BLR or the BAR. Works really good in a tactical scenario with the AR-10. It also works really well for long-range precision shooting, be that F-class competition, bench rest competition, NRL hunter, PRS, tactical sniping, all those things.
Ryan, it sounds like it works great in just about any rifle you want to put it in. Are you insinuating that it's the most versatile rifle cartridge ever?
Can you think of one otherwise that does all these things?
I can't. Let's stretch this thing's legs.
All right, our field scenario is 600, 700, 800 yards with this very precision rifle. We've got it bolted to a radian carbon tripod. Mark is gonna read me my dope because I can't count that high. Let's see what happens.
Spotter up, 600 yards, 3.9.
Going hot.
Impact. Spotter up, 700 yards, 5.2. Impact.
I'm ready at 8.
6.7. Impact. Exceptional, sir. Absolutely exceptional. All right, your beloved 308 has served us well out to 800 yards. I can admit that. What do you got going on here?
1,000 yards.
1,000 yards?
1,000 yards.
Certainly the 308 is out of gas at 1,000 yards.
Certainly not.
You don't think so?
I know so.
Let's give it a try. Okay, I was gonna talk to camera and stall so the wind would die down. It just died down. It's a little up and down. We're just gonna give it a go anyway. 308, 1,000 yards. Let's see what I can do. Shooter ready.
Spotter up. Oh, just bottom edge, like 2 inches low of the plate.
That's where I was holding.
Edge hit.
I'll take it.
That's a bingo.
I'll take it. We did it.
Boardman,
Yes.
you are quoted as saying to me when you learned that I hunt with a 308 Winchester, where do I keep the ramrod?
You know, I may have said that mostly in jest, partially in jest. We've shot these guns in a variety of platforms, a variety of scenarios. They've proven their versatility. Why don't we head back to the lab and unpack our findings?
308.
I come with a lot of baggage.
We'll get there.
We're back from the range. We shot a pretty diverse set of rifles in a kind of fast-paced scenario, Ryan. But before we get to the shooting, I have some admissions to make. Historically in my life, I have not been a fan of the 308. I've always viewed it as less than, anemic, not enough. Why have a 308 when you can have a 30-06? Why have a 308 when you can have a 300? They're more. More is better. And then the more we talk about the 308, which we've done a lot, possibly ad nauseum, the more I think that the 308 is the most versatile, bestest cartridge ever.
I agree, Mark. Now, we're not stating that this is the best big game cartridge ever. I'm not telling you that this will surpass the terminal performance of your 300 Win Mag and elk camp. That's not what we're here to do. This is a versatile cartridge, meaning if you had to have one caliber, one cartridge in a smattering of rifles configured to do different things, this ought to be the one.
Not the .6,
Not the .6,
the 308.
308.
Ryan, you have several 308s. You love the cartridge.
I do.
You got a lot of 308s. You love the 308. Why?
I selected the cartridge and a rifle at the same time. When I made my first real serious purchase on 308 Winchester, happens to be the Kimber Mountain Ascent that's behind us. I wanted a rifle that was extremely lightweight, but with a cartridge that was also extremely capable. Knowing that I'd hunt whitetails in Wisconsin, I'd hunt pronghorn in Wyoming, and maybe someday I'll strap it to the bottom of a Piper Cub and go to Alaska and hunt caribou. I needed a cartridge that could handle the versatility of terrain palette that I would run into. I needed sometimes flat shooting. I needed sometimes heavy hitting. And I also wanted a cartridge that I could find a tremendous amount of ammunition support for just about anywhere I go. 308 Winchester.
You're not kidding about ammo availability. There are a lot of options out there. Now, we generally talk about the major manufacturers. We got Remington, Winchester, Hornady, Barnes, Nosler, and Federal, right? 104 total. Some have more, some have less, but 104 factory offerings in grain weights from 110 to 220.
That's versatile.
That is versatile, and it's a lot.
It is. Knowing that I can go anywhere in the country, dare I say anywhere in the civilized, developed world, probably find a box of 308 ammunition if I'm in a pinch. very heartwarming to me. Just looking at the factory supported ammunition, there's an exceptionally special load that I really favor from Barnes, and that's 130 grain TTSX. Light for caliber, but this is a very special bullet. Solid copper, light for caliber, again, blazingly fast. From my Kimber, 3150 from the muzzle.
That's cooking.
That's cooking. When we look at the numbers and we compare it to 6.5 Creedmoor. So I'm gonna start with 308, I'm gonna ping pong off of 6.5. 308 Winchester, 130 grain TTSXs, 500 yards, I require 9.36 MOA. 6.5 Creedmoor, 120 grain TTSX, again factory loaded, I require 10.2 MOA.
So more adjustment for the 6.5 Creed, and you've stepped down in grain weight.
Correct. At a 10 mile an hour full value wind, I'm gonna give up just a shade to the 6.5 Creedmoor. It is a slipperier bullet. I need 5 minutes of angle of windage correction. In my 308, I need 4.5 minutes of windage correction with the 6.5 Creedmoor. So I concede to that, but it's very close.
When I was looking at just the vast array of offerings, one thing that I saw that was pretty consistent across the board, but just about every offering had the juice to get the job done to 500 yards. And Ryan, you and I talk about this often, and I get stuck in my, long range this and long range that. From a practicality standpoint, most of the critters, the majority of the critters that I've ever had to shoot at and have shot have been 500 yards and in.
Absolutely, which is exactly why I picked that cartridge and exactly why I picked that loading. I knew that I could appreciate the trajectory advantage that I get out of a cartridge like a 6.5 Creedmoor, but I could keep it in the same platform. I could also bullet up too if I wanted. If I wanted to chase larger, heavier critters, say mule deer, elk, moose, caribou, I can go up in grain weight and really not give up a heck of a lot. And that's why I have no qualms running the 308 Winchester mark.
I'm almost talked into it. Now for a guy like me though, Ryan, got some 6.5 Creeds, I've got some odd sixes, I have some 300s. Do I still need a 308?
That's a great question, Mark, because I have all those cartridges too. I love the guns that I have my 308s chambered in. I love the way they feel, I love the way they fit. I have a huge amount of trust in them, which is a big thing. We've talked about that before. You trust a rifle, you feel more comfortable with it. If you were heading out west and you had a mule deer tag in your pocket, maybe a pronghorn tag as well, and you were looking at the size difference between those two animals, you'd have no question in your mind about the 6.5 being adequate for pronghorn. But some of those big mountain mule deer I know you love to chase, maybe you want a little heavier pill, break a little more bone, a little more penetration, maybe you go with the 308.
Get a little bit larger frontal diameter on the bullet there. As you say, there's no replacement for displacement. I do believe there's some truth to that. I've borrowed 2 of your rifles for a couple different things. Well, I guess I've shot 2 of your rifles. I've borrowed your Kimber in 308, killed a deer with it, and I've shot your little shorty 308, which I'm a really big fan of as well. Let's talk a little bit, I guess maybe more specifically towards that short version and the efficiency of the cartridge and the powder burn.
Sure. I had that rifle put together specifically for hunting whitetails in the Midwest, or black bears maybe. I picked 308 intentionally. 6.5 Creedmoor was high on the list of cartridges to choose, but I picked 308 for a very, very specific purpose. And that is that larger diameter bullet gives me more area for gas volume to push on. It handles being cut, so in a shorter barrel, better than the 6.5 does. For instance, that same 130 grain Barnes TTSX loading, factory stuff that I shoot out of my gun, 3125 on the box, out of that gun is still doing 2950. I'm leaving a 16-inch barrel with a 130 grain projectile faster than the factory 120 TTSXs leave a 24-inch barrel out of a 6.5 Creedmoor. That's exactly why I did it.
It's pretty wild to think about. Overall, the cartridge just seems to hit a sweet spot of efficiency. And that's efficiency of powder burn. That's efficiency of the way that powder burn affects the bullet, and efficiency of powder use itself.
Yeah. To pick up 100 feet per second, going to a 30-06, you're going to add between 6 and 10 grains of powder, depending on the charge weight that you're running.
That's significant.
Yeah, absolutely.
And it's significant recoil as well.
True.
All right. we've shot this point to death. It's a phenomenal hunting cartridge. But what other applications is it good for?
Competition. As we had mentioned earlier, multi-gun competition, there is a division called heavy metal. 99% of the shooters are running an AR-10 platform rifle in .308 Winchester. Military and law enforcement application. This has been a very popular sniper rifle round for as long as I've been around, and pretty much since the inception of the cartridge. And rightly so. The platforms that they're built in, the ammunition, as it has evolved, has gotten so good that you can almost guarantee yourself success running a .308 in those various capacities that we talked about. It's also a medium machine gun round, and like a defensive carbine round. Think rifles like SCAR 17S. It's chambered.
.308. Now you've been talking about this cartridge and its professional applications. One thing of note, which I guess maybe it's obvious by the way that they've been used professionally, is that it is a NATO cartridge, which loops me right back into ammo availability. You're always going to be able to find something to go bang.
Yep.
By now, Ryan, the .308 is absolutely blushing as we've gushed all about its positive attributes. So why don't we transition and talk about the guns we shot and how we shot them.
Absolutely.
On the table, we have some classics, maybe some modern variants of classics here, Ryan, but all built to do one thing.
A scenario that Mark and I put together, we'll call it lateral movers, something that we as Midwestern deer hunters are all too familiar with. All three of these rifles would be typically located in a Northwoods deer camp, Minnesota, Michigan, Wisconsin. We have a Remington 760, which is a pump action. We have a Browning BLR, a lever action, and a Browning BAR, a semi-automatic. All of them, of course, are chambered in .308, and all of them would have been selected for their, shall we say, attribute of speed and handiness.
Absolutely. Ryan, I will add, my first deer rifle was a Remington 760 pump, chambered in .30-06. My second deer rifle was a Browning BAR, chambered in .30-06. But as a 12-year-old, I do wonder, should it have been a .308?
Boy, wouldn't it have been nice for you to increase your confidence while shooting that thing due to its lower recoil, yet absolutely adequate terminal performance?
You mean instead of not looking forward to shooting it? It's something to think about.
It is. Again, all of these rifles performed famously too. That fast follow-up shot, exactly the reason why we picked them for this particular test.
Fast follow-up shot, yes, but they're also accurate at distance as well.
Certainly. When we were printing these guns, all of them shot sub-minute of angle, which I've heard for many years. You can't appreciate that kind of accuracy, regardless of the cartridge, out of these platforms. Simply nonsense. Boardman, after executing those drills, is there a particular platform that you would pick for your next Midwestern big woods whitetail hunt?
Man, I love the classic nature of all of these for different reasons. I probably lean towards the auto. I like the auto. It's the fastest. But I also like the pump. I feel like the way the pump shoots and the way the auto shoots, other than mechanically different, the way I operate the gun is very similar. So I like both of those. No shade at the lever though, because there's something just American about the lever gun.
It's very cool.
What about you?
I'm going with the 760.
Yeah? Why?
There's a nostalgia component to this. Guy in my deer camp runs a 760 in .308. I've always looked at him as like the best deer hunter I know. And it's just cool. It's a slide action rifle. It's not something you see very popular these days. In the Northeast part of the country, like Maine, Vermont, New Hampshire, that is the deer rifle. It's pretty rad.
I mean, it's common. You see it a lot. Of note though, they don't make it anymore.
It's true.
It's a pretty sad deal. Maybe this will, I don't know, bring it back.
I hope.
I hope so as well. It's a cool gun. You were talking about shooting these guns fast. But what if a person wants to shoot really fast?
Talking like multi-gun heavy metal division fast?
Sounds pretty versatile.
It is. In fact, this rifle platform, or derivatives thereof, we'll call it the AR-10, was designed around a particular cartridge mark.
Which was?
.308 Winchester.
Interesting. I'm seeing a common theme here.
Indeed. So here's a weapon system, in this case an AR-10, that can be utilized for things like multi-gun heavy metal division. This particular rifle is configured as more of a quasi-precision, but short enough to be handy. We've got an LPVO on it. We've got an offset red dot on it. This thing screams speed.
It screams speed, but it also screams versatility. A person really could take this gun and do all of the things that we've talked about thus far.
This individual firearm, when we released the Razor HD 1-10, was the rifle that I used starting my day at 5 yards, finishing my day at 945 yards. Same platform, same cartridge, maximum versatility.
You gotta love the AR-10, you gotta love the 308, and everybody likes going fast, right?
Absolutely.
You mentioned precision, which this thing and a lot of the others are capable of, but what if we want all the precisions?
You mean like a rifle structured to be as accurate as possible?
Yeah,
We're shooting distances of 6, 7, 8, 9, 1,000 yards.
yeah.
Oh, we got one of those too.
Ryan, what do we got here? It looks like some sort of race car, maybe a transformer, maybe a transforming race car, or maybe just a really sweet precision rifle built specifically for that application.
You're absolutely correct, Mark. When I think of precision rifle, and specifically in the bolt gun context, I think of rifles like the Marine Corps' M40, that iconic sniper rifle, pour on the precision, and then add a little bit more. This thing is purpose-built for a specific type of competition. 308 Winchester is definitely the cartridge to pick for it.
And precision is what we did, at least to the best of our ability. We engaged targets from 700 yards to 1,000 yards, which I think is also interesting. With a gun like this, we start at 7 to start making it interesting. We shot off a Radian tripod and saw great success.
The cartridge carries it the distance.
The cartridge carries it the distance. You know, had we used the bipod, got prone, we probably could have shot with even a little bit higher level of precision. But I was impressed with the entire package. I was impressed with the cartridge itself. It doesn't run out of gas, as some people might say, at 1,000 yards. In fact, it did quite well.
Indeed. A little bit heavy though. It's not something I would generally hunt with.
So what would you generally hunt with if you're looking for something a little bit more lightweight, a little bit sleek, maybe a little bit shorter?
Well, there's more in the 308 palette of offerings here, Mark. The bag continues to provide surprises. Standard sporting hunting rifles.
Let's open that bag.
A classic bolt-action hunting rifle is my favorite format for a 308 Winchester.
I'd have to say mine as well.
They come in a myriad of shapes, sizes, colors, and they're all extraordinarily capable.
Extraordinarily capable, and with some diversity within that category as well.
Yeah, I have kind of two extremes on this end. I have an ultralight hunting rifle, and I have this very eclectic mission-specific hunting rifle as well. I fielded both. I love them both. I'm reaping the benefits of accuracy and stability in a bolt-action platform. I've got fast handling characteristics of a sporting type rifle. We've got them appropriately scoped. These really are two of my favorites.
You could do just about anything you want with them. Like I said, they are specialized in different ways, but still incredibly versatile because of their package and what they're chambered in.
In fact, we mentioned earlier, we assigned about a 500-yard line to the practical distance for hunting, and I feel that way about most of the cartridges I run, except for on the extraordinary end of big magnums. Whether it's a 308 or a 30-06 or a 6.5 Creedmoor, that 500-yard line is an awfully long ways. So we had targets at 300, 400, and 500 yards, which again, typical engagement distances. We were shooting off of shooting sticks and our packs from a seated position, something you and I are very familiar with in the field, especially for Western hunting. And I gotta say, Mark, you didn't give up anything. I watched you put groups downrange at 500 yards from that position with this rifle that were exceptional.
You as well, Ryan. I mean, it performed phenomenally, and I will add, generally, when I'm hunting, I'm looking to make one good shot, and if I have to make a follow-up shot, it's gonna be essentially in that same proximity. We were able to make those larger transitions with pretty solid fluidity and with accuracy as well.
Lower recoil, excellent payload on target. It's a perfect combination.
You gotta love it.
308 Winchester, the world's most versatile cartridge.
Now, we're not saying the 308 is the best long-range cartridge. We're not saying it's the best elk cartridge. We're not saying it's the best cartridge for tactical applications. We're saying that it's the most versatile cartridge out there. And I think that the variety of firearms it's chambered in, the variety of applications you can put it in, the scenarios in which it performs really well, prove that it is the most versatile cartridge ever.
Mark, I absolutely agree with you.
Anytime, anywhere, you're gonna be able to find a 308 and you're gonna find something to make it go bang. And that's important.
Have I convinced you yet?
I think I need one.
We're gonna make you whole again, my friend.
In summary, you simply cannot hate the 308. In fact, there's only room for love. If you think it's the most versatile cartridge ever, comment below. If you don't, comment below. And until then, we hope you enjoyed this episode of Cartridge Talks. We'll catch you on the next one.